Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a film that masterfully reinvented a classic horror icon for the modern age. Leigh Whannell's 2020 psychological thriller, The Invisible Man. This isn't just another monster movie. It's a chilling, brilliant exploration of gaslighting, trauma, and control that will have you checking over your shoulder for days. Starring the phenomenal Elisabeth Moss. This film takes the sci-fi concept of invisibility and grounds it in a terrifyingly real-world horror story, proving that sometimes the most frightening monsters are the ones you can't see. So, let's set the stage. The film opens with a heart-pounding sequence where Cecilia Cass, played by Elisabeth Moss, executes a desperate, meticulously planned escape from her abusive, wealthy boyfriend, Adrian Griffin, a brilliant optics scientist. Shaken but free, she seeks refuge with her childhood friend James and his daughter. Soon after, Cecilia receives news that Adrian has died by suicide and left her a considerable fortune. But just as she starts to rebuild her life, a series of bizarre and menacing events begins to unfold, making her question her sanity. She becomes convinced that Adrian has found a way to become invisible and is systematically terrorizing her, isolating her from everyone she loves. The core of the story is Cecilia's frantic struggle to prove she is not losing her mind, but is instead being hunted by an unseen force that no one else believes exists. The narrative structure is incredibly tight. Whannell crafts a slow-burn paranoia that builds relentlessly, without a single wasted scene. It doesn't just fly by, it grabs you by the throat and refuses to let go, masterfully escalating the tension from subtle unease to outright terror. At the heart of this film is Elisabeth Moss's tour de force performance as Cecilia. Moss is an absolute powerhouse, delivering a raw, visceral portrayal of a woman unraveling under immense psychological torment. You feel every ounce of her fear, her frustration, and her fierce determination. Her performance is so grounded and believable that the audience is placed directly into her terrified state of mind. We believe her, even when every other character on screen doubts her sanity. Her journey from a trembling victim to a resourceful survivor is the film's powerful emotional core. The supporting cast is also solid. Aldous Hodge as James brings a necessary warmth and stability, acting as Cecilia's anchor to reality, even as he struggles to understand what's happening. Storm Reid as his daughter also provides some tender moments that heighten the stakes. The true villain, Adrian, is a looming presence. Mostly unseen, but deeply felt through the aftermath of his actions and Moss's terrified reactions. His character is a chilling personification of narcissistic control, a manipulator whose power extends beyond the physical realm. There are no weak links here. Every performance serves the story perfectly. Technically, The Invisible Man is a masterclass in suspense. Leigh Whannell's direction is precise and incredibly intelligent. He understands that what you don't see is often far scarier than what you do. The cinematography is a key player in this. The camera often lingers on empty space as a vacant corner of a room, a deserted hallway, an unoccupied chair. These deliberate, wide shots create a palpable sense of dread, forcing the audience to scan the frame, constantly searching for a threat that may or may not be there. This technique brilliantly puts us in Cecilia's shoes, making us feel just as paranoid and on edge as she is. The camera movements are slow and deliberate, mimicking the stalking presence of the Invisible Man himself. The sound design is equally brilliant. The score by Benjamin Wallfisch is subtle yet deeply unsettling, using minimalist electronic tones and jarring stings to amplify the tension. But it's the use of silence that's truly effective. The quiet moments are filled with the potential for terror, where every faint creak or breath could be a sign of the unseen predator. The editing is razor-sharp, pacing the scares perfectly and making scenes like the now-famous restaurant sequence an unforgettable jolt of cinematic horror. Beyond the scares, The Invisible Man is a film with profound thematic depth. At its core, it's a powerful and timely allegory for the experience of surviving an abusive relationship. The film brilliantly literalizes the concept of gaslighting, the act of manipulating someone into questioning their own sanity. Adrian's invisibility serves as a metaphor for the unseen, insidious nature of psychological abuse and control that often leaves no physical scars but inflicts deep emotional trauma. It explores how abusers can continue to haunt and control their victims' lives long after the relationship has ended, isolating them from their support systems and making them feel powerless. The film's most meaningful statement is in Cecilia's fight to reclaim her narrative and her agency. It's a story about believing women, about the strength it takes to fight back against a predator who has all the power, and about the validating, terrifying reality that sometimes your worst fears are real. So, What works and what doesn't? Let's start with what works, which is almost everything. The film's greatest strength is its clever recontextualization of a classic monster into a modern story about toxic masculinity and abuse. Elisabeth Moss's performance is, without a doubt, one of the best in modern horror. The direction and cinematography are masterful, creating a sustained atmosphere of dread that is truly effective. The action sequences, when they do happen, are brutal, innovative, and shocking. The film is smart, terrifying, and emotionally resonant. Now, for the flaws, some viewers might find a few plot points in the third act require a bit of suspension of disbelief, particularly regarding the technology and certain character decisions. There are one or two moments where you might think, would someone really do that? But honestly, these are minor nitpicks in an otherwise exceptionally crafted film. The emotional truth of Cecilia's journey is so compelling that it easily papers over any small logical inconsistencies. My final verdict. The Invisible Man is an absolute must-watch. It's a top-tier psychological horror film that is as intelligent as it is terrifying. This is more than just a creature feature. It's a gripping, character-driven thriller with something important to say. I would highly recommend this to anyone who loves smart, suspenseful horror, psychological thrillers, and powerful character studies. If you're a fan of Leigh Whannell's previous work or appreciate a film that can make your skin crawl while also making you think, you cannot miss this. It's a modern horror classic that will stay with you long after the credits roll. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. What did you think of The Invisible Man? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Until next time,